design, and welcome to Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday is a little series where I dig back into an older paper collection and use it to make something fresh and new. Today we're departing just a little bit from that, and I'm showing you what to do with scraps from a favorite collection. And you can see I've got this little pile of scraps here. This is from LemonCraft Delicious, and I have had more fun with this collection. I'm really glad I broke my rule of no new paper collections and went ahead and bought it because I've really had a good time with it. So I thought we would work with these bits and bobs and we would put together a really cute easel card. So you want to begin from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of light pink cardstock. Go ahead and trim off a 5.5 by 11 inch piece. Then score this at 5.5 and then score again between the 5.5 and scored at 2 3/4. And that's going to make our easel fold. And I've gone ahead and on the inside, I've lined this. Now, here's a sneaky trick. I did not feel like I had enough paper to do a card, but I remembered, aha, and this is a great thing to remember, Prima's Fruit Paradise is a great match for this delicious collection. So I went in and I found I had a couple of 6 by 6 sheets left from that. These cherries, and then you'll see another sheet in a little bit. So this is the reverse side of the cherries up here, and here's the cherries in gingham. And it couldn't go better with this if I, planned it. So I have this little piece of the green gingham, and this I trimmed to 5 3/4 inches wide. And we're going to put some gussets on here. And gussets are just pieces of folded paper that act like hinges on a card. And I like to use them on my pockets because it means I can fit more in the pocket. And in this case, the pocket for this card is actually going to act as the stopper for the easel. So it kind of does double duty. And I've just folded these in half. And I'm putting the folded edge of my gusset against the open edge of the paper. And you want these lined right up, but not going over. Going over is not a good thing. And here's another one. And we're just going to glue these down. And since this is gingham, it doesn't really have a direction. But if you were working with a directional pattern, you would want to make sure that you were putting this on right side up, because that would be sad. And then I'm just going to bring in my scissors. And I like just to trim a little angle off the top because I find that things slide into the pocket a bit easier. So I'm just going to put adhesive here and adhesive here and then adhesive along the folds. And then this is going to go, we want to line the edges up. See, I'm lining this edge up with this edge. And it's okay if we have pink along the bottom. And no one knows that this panel was too short now because the pocket covers that up. So that, I just wanted you to see how to do that on the inside of the card. And now we will move along to the card cover. And I have used scraps of my LemonCraft paper to cut teacups from this Stamp Simply, I think this is called Coffee or Tea. And there is the information on that. And I believe this is still in stock. And then I stamped this little sentiment with the matching stamp set, also from Stamp Simply. And it is also called Coffee or Tea. And I'm not a big stamper, but I love a good sentiment stamp. So now see, this pocket is going to serve as the stopper for our easel. And we're just going to set this aside for a moment. And now we're going to bring in a piece of white cardstock that I have trimmed to 5 3/8 inches square. And then this kind of soft beige, which is 5 1/8. And then our designer paper is 4 7/8 inches square. And I just stitched around this on my sewing machine and inked the edges ever so lightly with Distress ink. So the first thing I want to do is bring in a piece of this beautiful lace. This is from Renee Bouquets, and this is going to go along the top of our pocket. So I'm going to get my score tape and I'm going to put this down. Now what I did was I took 1/8 inch light pink, or I think this is, I don't know, it's not quite 1/8 of an inch, but it's from Really Reasonable Ribbon. I will link in the description. And I just wove it through. And I kind of almost like it better this way than the way I did it, but I've already woven it through, so I'm going to leave it like that. And we're going to put our double stick tape down along the top of the card, just to create some separation between the pocket and the background. And what can you put in the pocket? Well, tea bags obviously are a great choice. So you can put a little tea bag treat in there. You could also put a little tag in there, a little note in there, and we may work something like that up before it's all said and done. And I just want to center this like this, press this down, and now I can come in and, but that tape will hold things in place. And I'm just using my sharp little ribbon scissors to trim this on the sides. There we go. And then a little trick, you can take just a tiny bit of your Dries Clear adhesive and tap it along the edges of this. And that will keep that from fraying. It just kind of seals off those end fibers so you don't end up with a big frayed mess. All right, so that takes care of our pocket. Now let's bring this piece in. And what I've done is I die cut a teacup. This is the other piece of Prima Fruit Paradise, and it was such a good match. I was thrilled when I saw that. And I created the cup handle. So we're just gonna, I like to put the square part back behind the cup and then this part here. And then I made a little tea bag. This little die also comes with the collection, and I die cut 2. I put a sticky dot in between, and then I put my twine on top of the sticky dot, and now we're going to run this through both of the holes. Like this. And we can actually take this and come around our teacup handle. And then I just stamped this with another one of the cute little stamps from that collection. So we've just run this over our handle and a pinch of hot glue. I just wanted this to have a bit of dimension. All right, there we go. All right, and this is going to sit right about here. So I'm just going to kind of leave this here to eyeball it a little bit, because what I want to do found this little doily in my stash. This is an old Prima doily. If you ever had the set Coffee and Tea, I think it was called, or Coffee Break. Maybe it was called Coffee Break. I don't know. It's an old one. I bought the little doilies, and look how cute these little cherries are. So we're kind of creating a theme here. And now I'm just sort of laying out my elements so that I know how I want them to be on my card. And this is where you just have to play around and use your own judgment to figure out what you like the looks of and what you don't. I am going to go ahead and put some foam tape on the back of this. Well, I tidied my desk and now I can't find any of my supplies. Does that ever happen to you? How ironic, right? I did fine as long as it was a mess. Should have left it a mess. It gets to me after a while though, when it's really messy. I find that my mind seems to work better if my environment's a little less cluttered. So let's do like this. All right, let's put our little cup down right about here. I like that. And then let's put down some foliage. Is that what I want to do? I'm actually going to bring in my easel card because with an easel card, you're doing not just the above, but the below at the same time, if that makes sense. So when you glue down an easel card, you just want to put your adhesive on the bottom half. And then when you glue it down, you want to stay below the fold. So this is how I do that so that I don't get myself into trouble. See? And now this will stand like this. It's a little light right now, but as we finish getting our, there we go. It just needed a little bend. So now I can look at this and I can kind of see where elements are going to be placed and how I want to place them. And that just really helps me design the card. So the first thing I think I want to do, I do want to put this foliage down. Like this. Oops. And you can arrange these leaves so that they look more natural. And then I'm going to bring in these little birdie. These are Celebrate Life, and these are the Rosalind Celebrate Life. And again, we're just going to add some floral elements here. Nothing too big because we don't want to dwarf our teacup, but maybe a couple of rosebuds. And what I like to do is twist these together like this. And place my adhesive. And these are going to tuck in right here. So see how pretty this is looking. Then I have this Prima spoon. It's just one of those partial spoons. And I was trying to think where Yeah, let's incorporate this into our floral arrangement, almost like it's sticking out of it. I'm going to put some adhesive back behind there. And the handle is in the hot glue. That's really pretty. And then I've never done this before, but I thought this could be kind of fun. We'll see how this works. I have sequins, and I thought that could be really pretty if we fill this with hot glue. And then sprinkle in some of these sequins to kind of mimic the look of sugar. If you use your imagination, can you see it? If you use your imagination, whoops. And it just adds a little tiny bit of sparkle, which is fun. And I may have to come back and secure some of those, but I think that looks really sweet. And then I tied a bow with the same pink gingham that is on the bottom. And I'm just going to fold this and tuck it in here. And I'm holding that in place with my scissor blade while I adjust the loops. All right. And then I also tied a little iridescent string bow to go in with that. So that's going to also tuck in there. Oops. All right. So while that's in there, you just kind of move those loops around where you want them to be. All right. Let's see. So we did have a few loose sequins in there. I shook those out. But I think that's cute. I really like the way that looks. And I'll fuss this bow more once the glue has set up, but if I play with it too much, it's gonna come loose and then I have to re-glue it. So we'll just leave it like that for now. And then, let me see, what else do we wanna do here? I think that's pretty good. And then maybe just have our tag sort of sitting up in there. So I'm going to take my glue gun and put just a dot back behind it and angle it in. Cute, cute. And then I have itty tiny little flowers that I'm going to put in there. And then let's take a few sequins. This little stick it tool comes in real handy. And let's stick these on our glue. And then maybe a few more over here, just kind of balance it out a little bit. Come on. All right. Maybe just one down here. I think that's good. So this is going to sit like this. And I've got these itty bitty little birdie flowers that I'm going to dig out. I won't take the time to do that right now, but you'll see them in the gallery at the end. Then to balance this, I'm going to put my little doily down in this corner. And maybe just a small cluster of rosebuds down there. To balance this out. And just a couple of leaves. So you can tear the leaves to make them smaller. So this right here, and then gonna have to use this guy to cluster these together. I cut it too short. You can see I'm just wrapping wire around these. We'll wrap the wire, well, good gracious. There we go. There we go. Put these down. Like that. And then cut the wire off of this one. And come in and lay it down just like that. So now we've created balance so that it's not all heavy on this one side. And I think that's all we really need to do. So for in the pocket, like I said, oh, I had created some cute little buttons. Let's, I love buttons on a vintage card. These are little vintage, they look like maybe they're mother of pearl. I'm not sure. I find these at estate sales. And I just did a trio of them that looked mostly the same. Threaded them. And when you're threading really vintage buttons, I find they look best if you use a taupe thread rather than white, because they're really not white. They've got that wonderful patina. So there, I think that looks really good, guys. I like that. Pretty. All right. And then for the pocket, I had found this tag in my stash. This is from Lazaro Love. And I'm not even going to color this or anything. I'm just going to lay this down, I think, on this Prima cherry blossom paper. This is from Fruit Paradise. I'm going to trace around this. Sometimes I will emboss these and add sparkle, but I just love the way this one looks, just exactly the way it is. So I'm not going to do a thing to it. Did you see how I traced around that tag? I'm going to cut around the inside line like this. And then this will show through. It'll be really pretty. Because, you know, Throwback Thursday is about using up stuff that's in your stash. So that's what I'm doing. And this has to stay, like, you can't add a ton of dimension to this because I didn't score a spine into that easel card base. But you put this little tag in there, you add a pretty little tea bag. You've got a beautiful gift. Okay, just trim around the bottom. Up the side. A little bit over here. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay. Come in with a hole punch. Pink gingham ribbon. Run this through the top because we don't want a big fat knot. That's going to make it really hard. To close the card. So I took a nice long piece of this iridescent string and I'm going to fold it in half, then fold it in half again. And don't go away, I'll be right back. Okay, these are fairly flat charms, so I think we'll be okay. And I'm just going to come around. I'm going to take my loose ends. I've got 2 loose ends. And I'm going to put 1 charm on each loose end. Oops. Okay. Now that I've got those where I want them to be, I'm going to tie another little knot so that they won't move all over the place. Cute, very cute. And then tie a bow. There we go. Pretty. So trim these. And trim these. And then trim this. I know a lot of times I cut ribbon longer, but the reason for that is simply this. You can always make ribbon shorter, but once you've cut it, you can't make it longer. And I just find that I waste less ribbon this way. And then I've got this sweet little, this was copper. I painted it with chalk paint to give it a shabby chic finish. And we're just going to put this up here. And this itty bitty resin crown, which I know is dimensional, but I'm hoping it won't cause too much of a problem. And I may look for some sort of little word, or I may just leave this exactly like this is. Once that dries, that will go in the pocket along with a tea bag. And that, my friends, is this week's Throwback Thursday. And look, I have enough left to make another tag. So we may see this again. This is like the collection that will not end. It just keeps coming back and coming back. But that's okay because I love it and I love working with it. So I decided I needed a little bit of ribbon in there just to anchor everything. Sometimes flowers look weird to me, floating out in the middle of nowhere with no, I like to use ribbon to sort of anchor them. So I'm just going to poke that in there on that side. And then I've got another one. That I'm going to poke in on this side. And then I went through my stash and I found this ancient Petaloo stick pin, which I'm going to try to fit right in there. And to me, that is the perfect finish. I'm going to tack a little glue under that stick pin. I wish they would bring these back. I loved these things. And I guess somebody decided, I don't know who, that shabby chic had gone out of style. And so they stopped manufacturing these, but I still love a good shabby chic card or project. I wish I had put, can I get this out of there? There we go. Let's pull this pin out. Does this drive you crazy when I do this, guys? But this is how I really craft. I mean, sometimes you put something down and you think it's right where you want it to be. And then you come back and you go, you know what? I don't like the way that looks. And that was how I was feeling about that. So, see, to me, that's so much better. And our foliage doesn't get covered up. I need to tear off a little leaf to repair the one that came up with our pin. And my glue bottle is clogged here. There we go. Doesn't take much. Oops. I just want to get this tucked in there. There we go. All right. I think that is so sweet. Look, I just love it. It's just soft and summery and light. And I'm a fan. I think that's good. And here's our tag in the pocket. So finished up. All right. Throwback Thursday for this week. Thanks for joining me, guys. Go get your craft on. Bye.